Let me all tell you a little tale about a man who chopped off his genitals.
All right.
I actually would love to continue with that voice if someone was playing a guitar. But anyway, so you just kind of you walking around and oh man, blood's everywhere. But you're okay. You're okay. It's fine. It's good. There's pink elephants around, but whatever. It's fine.
I'm
good.
so lost right now.
I don't know what happened. I'm scared.
I mean, you're a little pale, but it's been raining a lot.
Wait, how can I be pale though?
Paler.
You're ashen.
Oh,
Somebody
I see what you did there.
You're Ash
I
Ketchum
see what you did there.
from Pallet Town.
That backfired.
So anyway, you stumbling around. The hospital, it can wait a little bit, right?
No.
You've watched a lot of anime. You know how much blood's in a person. You're not bleeding that fast.
At least 800 gallons, right?
At least 800 gallons. You're not bleeding that fast. It should be fine. So you walk in and you trip over the trunk of one of the pink elephants.
Okay.
Wait, where do these pink elephants come from? What?
I'm
They're
so
just kinda
lost.
walking
I don't
around.
even know anymore.
Are these Hufflumps and Woozles? What's happening
It's
here?
from your imagination.
My response to this is
Not a
I'm dying,
hallucination
so I
from
just
blood
lay down
loss.
and say that's it.
Yeah, game over. I'm
Yeah,
good.
this is it.
So
I'm coming.
you trip, and he says, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, mister. Let me help you up here. Hey, here's, let me give you this thing I got from the supermarkets. I got it at the soup store specifically. Mm-hmm. You can have this can of Campbell's soup.
I thought it was gonna be close.
I wish I would have thought. When you open this can of soup, the company mascot of your choice will come to life, but he will hate the product. He will hate the product he stands for so much.
Ooh,
Oh, I'm totally
that is
okay.
interesting.
I like
He
it.
hands you this soup and leaves. What are you going to do with the soup?
So we get to bring to life.
Any company mascot.
So for a company mascot, would this work if, say, there isn't technically a mascot for a company, but they have a flagship product, such as Marvel has no mascot, but Spider-Man is widely renowned as their flagship product?
I am here going to define a mascot as an at least personified representation of the company. And I will count Spider-Man.
Okay,
I-
so we're including like flagship.
Honestly, I'd
flagship
I'd go as
products
far
in-
as to
in place.
consider Spider-Man Marvel's mascot in a low kind of soft. In a soft
I mean,
sense.
he's the flagship product of that. He makes them more money than all the other properties combined. Probably. He's
No, what I mean is
He's
like
the
if
flagship.
Marvel decided to be like a sports team, they'd have Spider-Man as their mascot running out at halftime.
yeah. That's why. All right, cool.
So we got a Marvel hating Spider-Man.
Hey, I didn't say I was going to choose Spider-Man.
Okay.
I just brought him up as a flagship because he's
Okay.
not technically a mascot. I want to see if that was allowed
That is allowed.
because I want to choose Spider-Man.
All
Alright, so we got a Marvel hating Spider-Man.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
are-
Maybe I don't want. I'm gonna think about it for another.
Yeah, 'cause I was kind of worried, like, I know you want Spider-Man to be real, but do you really want him to be completely against Marvel?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I
would
kind
hurt
of do.
you.
Imagine if you was a superhero brought into the real world. You kind of hate all these things. They're like, hey, that's my secret identity. That's my life. What? Why are they talking about my aunt
What
like
are these
that?
fan
Wait,
fictions?
what are you talking- Hey, you're not supposed to.
Why are these lewd images existing on the
What are
internet?
all these lewd images of my wife? What?
Oh my God.
Oh, MJ. Oh, black cat. Oh, no.
Oh god.
Wait, why am I black in this one? I'm thinking about. I'm strongly
Let's
thinking
move on to
about.
Stewie. Stewie, who?
Skip me for last.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Can we just skip all of those?
Skip everyone.
I don't know. That's hard because I want to.
Like, this is a legit pretty good one.
Yeah,
I
this
like
is a good one because it's like you have the chance of just screwing over a company.
I do want to mention this. This was brought. I was inspired by hearing that Colonel Sanders hated KFC.
I mean, to be fair,
Really?
to be
Wait,
fair,
hold up. As,
to
a
be
black,
my
as a
God.
black man,
I love
as
it.
a black man, I'm hurt.
Of course you are.
What does that mean? I was joking.
he had a
Person
decent
that's
reason.
hurt
Okay, so like he made his chicken and it was like super fancy and really nice and everyone loved it. And then when someone else bought his recipe and his likeness to use for KFC, and the way he did his chicken was much better, but it wasn't something they could easily keep consistent throughout all the restaurants. So they had to simplify it so that any random person at one of the restaurants could easily manufacture it. And he hated the change.
Okay, I know what.
Sense.
That's understood.
But he was on record as saying KFC was terrible on multiple interviews. Also, they tried to sue him and they lost.
Why would they try to? Oh,
Because he was saying their product was bad.
I know, it's like, but it's it was my original product. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh, okay, but
Anyway.
that's not fair because he already hates the product, so I can't pick him.
I mean, he was also already real, dude.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good
But
point.
would you just be
because-
bringing him back to life then?
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
if the mascot was actually real, you're bringing them back to life.
Okay.
So
Do they live forever?
They have a normal lifespan starting from when you bring them back.
What is the normal lifespan for Mickey Mouse?
For Mickey Mouse,
boy.
Because what did you love?
so
What did you love of Mickey Mouse who hated Disney?
oh my
parks?
god, and I
that'd be
would.
amazing. Like, oh, Disney.
No way.
Oh, I can't do it. My voice is completely shot.
Oh, they're terrible.
All right.
Honestly, I don't know. It's some I'm thinking about, like very energetic about their product is like Tony the Tiger, like
That
like
that would be a really
The
good
le-
one.
Tony the Tiger
They're
hates sausage flakes.
like the leopard, like
You could have one of me Lucky Charms.
yeah, the leprechaun from Lucky Charms. Like, there's so many good ones. I can't. Oh my god.
Well, that would be really odd. The Kellogg's Rooster, the one that's on cornflakes.
That'd be weird.
I know.
That'd be interesting but weird.
Just a random rooster that
Would it
hates
just
Kellogg's.
not like cornflakes or just not eat them?
But yet, this
Like, would you even know that they hated it? It's just a rooster.
or better yet, the son from Raisin Bran. Just being like, oh no!
No, I
soup.
like to imagine you choose it, but it warps it, so it's just we're Tatooine now.
Well,
There's just
Two
a second.
suns.
There's just two suns in the sky. We're a desert planet. It's just destroy Earth by
One of the
by
sons
going
just
by.
really hates Raisin
And,
Bran.
and you never know it. It's just up in space, just thinking, man, I hate Raisin Bran. It's just this big hydrogen-based life form that just hates Raisin
Oh my
Bran.
god! And its lifespan would be like billions of years too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I want that. I don't know.
We'd have a
Like, what's-
sentient sun.
I think I decided.
What would a sentient sun do?
That
Would it
wears
make
sun-
solar flares to move around and stuff?
That
Like,
wears-
Watch, it has eyes too, so it's just staring at you all the time. It's
No,
like,
constantly sunglasses.
no, it
have
has
sunglasses.
Yeah, what I'm saying.
and two
giant,
scoops.
giant.
That would probably be
plastic-looking
empty because it doesn't like
sunglasses.
them.
it like throws one of the scoops out there. It's like, I hope that hits you.
No.
We have Raisin Bran on there. Slowly
If
rotate.
I threw one of these scoops, it would have enough impact on Earth to wipe out all life, thus stopping production of all Raisin Bran.
Worth it. Throw.
No more Raisin Bran.
Also,
Shoot, I hit Mars.
do the mascots extend to spokesmen or spokeswomen?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said,
He's not-
I mean, I'd say they have to be representative of the brand.
Like-
someone like Jared from Subway, maybe.
No, I'm thinking.
if you want to bring Jared from I'm sure he hates them already.
No, it doesn't work because he's not dead.
So you bring a second version back to life, and this one's not in prison.
I'm gonna say, if you really want
But he could
to,
still
this
be
seems
a
like a
pedophile.
waste of a magic soup can. But if you really want to, you can just make someone who currently exists hate their brand.
No, see, I was thinking of Steve Jobs just because I hate Apple that much. And then just come up stage and
You
just,
see this
it would just be an
it's
apple.
it's not my answer, but I'm just kind of going through
I
mascots
think if
right
it
now.
shows Apple, it would literally just be an apple, like with intelligence
No, I-
that just hates
This apple
products.
is
No,
better
no,
than
No,
Apple.
some companies do have multiple representations, and I will. You can
Yeah,
choose.
I would
Okay, fair
definitely
enough.
say Steve Jobs is one of the definitive
Yeah,
representations.
when you think of Apple,
You,
for
if you want to, you can
representatives.
choose the Apple logo to come to life, but you can also choose Steve Jobs.
An Apple logo
That'd
that
be
hates
great.
Apple.
He makes like his key or what is it like keynote thing?
The
It's
new
like,
iPhone
iPhone
X. It sucks.
I I mean,
It's just a poop emoji machine.
I have a feeling that if we brought him back,
Yeah,
without
honestly,
manipulating him at all, he would hate his.
Honestly, I would love it if he came.
What did they do to this?
No, I would
What
love
is this?
I would love it.
Why are you people buying this?
There's no buttons.
No, yeah, I would love it if he came back, right?
You
And he-
made a thing that interrupts the screen.
I would love it.
What is this bar?
I would love it if he actually like came back and like did that. It's like, why are you people so dumb? You bought a phone that has no buttons and no phone jack. What is wrong with you?
How do you listen to music? Why do we have iTunes? We still have iTunes, right?
You guys spent over $100. You guys spent over $100 for these things. Why? They're just buds. You can why?
There's not so many people out there
I
just being
lost
that
one of
guy on
these
the
on my
bus
way to
blasting
work
music.
today.
You know
I
what?
used to have 2 of these, and that was this morning.
You know what? I'm debating between Raisin Bran, son Tony the Tiger, and Steve Jobs. I don't
Raisin
know.
Bran would be horrifying.
Raisin Bran would be horrifying. That's if
The
that's if I
potential
want
of Raisin Bran is terrifying.
That's if I'm in a really bad.
Because I'm
mood.
guessing we don't get to choose how they come to life. Do they come to life as a real life representation of them, or like if they're a cartoon, do they come to life as a cartoon?
I started debating that with the Kellogg's Rooster.
I mean, the Kellogg's Rooster has been represented by multiple different types of images,
True.
though. So I think you'd have to just make what the image is based on, which is a real rooster. But Raisin Bran has always been a cartoon son with eyeglasses. As long as they've had that logo.
You can choose which version. It has to be a version that was used, but you can choose which version.
So I think I've decided for
So
mine.
if I choose the Apple logo, do I have like this platinum apple with a bite out of it?
Yeah.
Is it sentient? Does it automatically become sentient?
It does.
Because
That way
I mean,
can
it has to hate the company.
Yeah,
So,
it's
it's like the bomb from Red vs.
how would
Blue.
a sentient platinum apple having a bite out of it be able to interact with the world?
It hit people.
not
on
very well.
It would roll and just hit people on the head.
I mean, I guess as Apple's representative, it probably has like Apple tech in it. So I maybe it can connect to Wi-Fi.
Well, I'm also assuming that whichever mascot you choose, even if it's like the Apple logo, it has some method of creating sound so that it can speak.
All right.
Although I'm imagining the Apple logo, the little leaf just going back and forth, and you hear it talking.
You see the apple vibrates against the shell of the platinum apple so fast that it can make whatever sounds it wants.
There we go.
So for mine, I'm gonna go with. You guys remember the honeycomb commercials?
Oh God! The terrifying furry thing.
We want honeycomb. Now imagine that, where its sole purpose is going insane for honeycomb and not liking honeycomb.
And now it hates honeycomb.
You are a sick person. Ooh, the Tricks Rabbit would be interesting too.
That would be just sad. It's just a bunny that keeps getting beat
It's
by
the
children.
Tricks Rabbit. You want some tricks? No, tricks are for kids.
It would be a trick rabbit.
I'm not that immature.
That doesn't want tricks ever, but keeps getting beat up by children. Anyways.
You want to hear a quick funny story about that? So for a while I never had like Trick cereal until I was like 10, 11, right? But me being a young kid, I knew that Tricks was another word for prostitute. And so every time I saw those commercials, I always like it's like it was like Tricks are for kids, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? It's like, why are they selling sex to kids? I'm so confused. What is this? Why are they using a rabbit? And after that,
Oh, you know why they're using a rabbit.
and then after that, I was convinced that this was just like the Playboy like commercial, and I was just like, this is weird. And then I finally got the cereal, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so dumb.
I would choose the Jolly Green Giant.
Oh my god!
Just ho ho ho, stomps through like a
No more vegetables.
Green giant. God!
breaks into like a super department store, just steals all the vegetables and just starts like throwing them around. It's like, no!
Just starts chucking them at farmers. Just like,
How dare you?
stop growing these.
Oh shit! I want to take. Oh damn it! But
Oh man.
I want to change my answer.
Did you give an answer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the honey
I
giant.
want to change
right,
my
okay.
answer.
That's
And
a
I
good
think
one,
everyone
too.
at this table is gonna love it.
What?
Say guitar, Sanshiro. Say guitar,
Oh,
Sanshiro.
he
Say
just beats
guitar,
people up now
That
for
would
giggles.
legitimately make me sad to see.
Wait,
That
what?
would
Sega
make me
does that show that doesn't like Sega, and also like I just imagine him by now. His purpose for hating it would be pointless, so he just feel defeated all the time. So he'd just be this depressed Sega does Sanshiro, you know, and like, man.
Better yet,
I
it's
don't
like the
want
complete
that.
opposite. He beats up people who are playing Sega. Given that
All
say-
5 Russian kids.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, Russian. Hold on, I'm lost. What is this?
Sega Sanshiro.
Sanshiro,
Sega Sanshiro. Sega
I don't know what this is.
So I'm gonna give you context for this one. Sega to Sanshiro was a mascot for Sega when the Sega Saturn came out.
Okay.
A completely failed project, but their advertising for it was amazing because
Fabulous.
basically
Like I would watch
Oh
them
my gosh,
as their
yeah.
own show.
I watched them multiple
I know, we
times.
did. Like,
Yeah.
I had them downloaded on my phone for like a year. Like,
The theme song. I have the theme song.
Theme song's
It's
amazing.
it's a beautiful thing.
you would have kids just casually walking, doing something like playing a sport, and then he would appear out of nowhere, beat the ever-loving crap out of them, and then just be like, "No, you will play Sega."
Why?
Yeah, like the kids like, I'm sorry.
And it was just like some dude in a gi, and like he would just like inhuman things like out of nowhere. Like he would like be in a baseball team all by himself and just like demolish the ball. And
Man, yo,
he was insane.
this ain't cool.
He
This
beat
ain't
up
cool.
Oh, also, just as a note, his Sega Sanshiro was a play on Sega Saturn Shiro, which is buy a Saturn. Well, buy a Sega Saturn. Or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
And he tragically gave his life saying Sega had like.
And
main
the last
offices.
commercial he was in, there was a missile going towards Sega headquarters, and he stops it like on the building and redirects it into space and goes up with it and explodes.
Because that was like
That
when the
sounds like you
Sega Saturn ended and they were releasing the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Although I question why everyone was sad for him because he was constantly beating them up.
Yeah, he was like a real.
Because he beat them up for a good cause and
True.
and enlightened them.
To be fair,
Because
the
them-
people at Sega were upset that he was dead.
think
No,
of,
some of the civilians were too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see. I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
it was people in buildings like.
Sega.
I remember that
To be
time
fair,
he
he
broke
did.
my arm.
I
enjoyed it.
He did beat up a bunch of zombies at one point too. So he
This
did
is
save
true.
Yeah, that is true.
Did he beat up North Korea inside? I
He
vaguely-
also beat up a
I-
bunch of random people in a nightclub.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
You're
He
having
beat up
fun.
a kid who didn't want a Sega Saturn from Santa.
it's true.
And then he was dressed as Santa too and just pulls down the beer and like kids
Ooh.
like, ah! Like
This
terrified.
man is one of my favorite superheroes.
Sega Santa.
I don't know whether I'd be like excited or just terrified.
What I recommend is 1, watch the commercials.
yep.
2, listen to the theme song. And then 3,
Download them all.
well, yeah,
Get a Sega
watch the death battle for Sega to Sanshiro versus Chuck Norris. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
What? Is this like a Sega funded thing?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Oh, okay.
The guys that do death battle did it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
on
I'm about to
Screw
say,
Attack.
I was like, what? Okay.
But that was an actually really good
Oh yeah.
death battle
It
video.
was.
That sounds so oddball, though.
It was.
But it was good.
That's why it was amazing.
All right.
So did everyone give an answer?
Oh, I did.
I did.
I was originally thinking of the Geico Gecko,
Ah.
Oh man.
but
That would also.
early on I changed my mind to Mickey Mouse.
That would be awesome. A mouse who hates like Mickey Mouse.
I would
who
love to
hates
see
Disney.
Mickey Mouse just hating Disney.
I just like to imagine he's like some rabid drunk sitting in front of Disneyland. Just
I
like
can't
throwing
believe
bottles
I'm
at like the
Yo,
entrance.
Disney! You hurt me!
I don't want to be a
Why
part
you
of
listen to that kid? Oh, look at me! I bet your mother.
I imagine him being like the Mickey Mouse from South Park.
We're just forcing
I am the god. I am the commander.
So, for me, it's come down to one of two options. Either Darth Vader, because that would be terrifying. And
Especially for George Lucas.
I know, right?
Man.
You get
Like a Darth Vader that just hates the Star Wars franchise.
How dare you
Just
make Star
despises
Wars?
it.
How dare you have Hayden Christensen play
That
me
and
in
he'd
the
be like
prequels?
legit unstoppable.
Yeah, but
So-
see, if you do that, you won't have Star Wars anymore because he would stop.
But I'd have
love
like,
Star Wars.
I mean, but here's the thing. You can't stop Disney. Okay? like you might not be able to stop Darth
Yeah, I'm not
Vader,
even expecting
but-
Mickey Mouse to
But
stop
you
this.
can't. you may not be able to stop Darth Vader. You can't get him. But I think Disney might overpower. If I have to choose between Disney or
Just
Darth
send
I
Vader,
think the
enough
most likely
cannon fodder at
scenario
him.
is
Die
Disney would
for
just
us.
be able to
Go.
avoid him indefinitely.
yeah.
No one would win, but I mean Disney wouldn't be taken down either. So.
I don't know about that. Like, I mean, maybe I'm overestimating like Darth Vader here.
I
But
think you're underestimating Disney is the problem.
Yeah.
I don't think you're overestimating Darth Vader. I think you're underestimating Disney.
no, I think you're right. I think they would like avoid him at all costs. But I think that like
I think at that point Disney would actually make another Darth Vader out of like
actually they could,
somehow, and it's like it's 10 Darth Vaders versus one. It's like this is gonna get interesting.
I also feel like he would defeat them too, though. Just be like, I'm the original. How dare you mock me with these clones? Ah!
I think if Disney made one, it would be able to stand up to him.
Really?
If they made 10, they could beat him. If they made one, the original would still win.
How would they implement?
Here's the problem.
How
How would they get a DNA sample from the original
It's
to
Disney.
do it?
It's Disney.
Is Disney?
Okay,
That's
but
fine.
here's the thing though.
Now you're underestimating Disney.
With this, I don't know. He has a vacuum sealed suit, and I don't think anything. can
Honestly,
touch
I
him.
think they would just like from scratch construct one.
How would they
Just
implement the
make it
Force
Darth
though?
Vader.
It's Disney.
Okay.
Oh man. You know those
Okay, I know
Make-A-Wish
you're wondering, I'm
foundations?
wondering why Disney isn't like the world leader of
You see,
some
what
big
happens is
global agenda. Like,
They know
What makes
they,
you think they aren't?
they know they can. They just don't want to because they're lazy.
no, what happens is like those kids at like Make-A-Wish is like, I want to meet Darth Vader. It's like, oh boy, you get to become Darth Vader now and just drag him out of the room. Reappears
make
5
your
years later as
wish
Darth
come
Vader
true.
to fight the real Darth Vader.
All right, sick kid,
the
meet
first
yourself.
6 years are dedicated to a program to enslave to completely brainwash these kids into thinking that they were born of a random woman on a desert planet, and think
I can
that
see
they
this happening.
like an entire 6 years dedicated to just mentally scarring them enough, and then actually putting them through slavery, as part of Disney's Chinese markets, of course. Because I mean, then it would be Anakin's life, right? And then they'd spend the entire rest of the time developing the suits for them to grow into. And then
Either that or they just get
they'd be treated as Darth Vaders, but they'd be Darth Vaders, right? But the entire system would be treated more like the Spartan Project from Halo.
Yeah.
Oh my
Either that
God.
or they get a dude with a shovel with like a shovel full of sand and just go, just run away every now and
I
then.
hate sand.
He like appears in like a dark alleyway. It's like, I found you, Vader. And just runs away from him like, sand, no.
You see, like,
I'll get you next
staring
time.
off into the emptiness, traumatic flashbacks in the background of just sand.
He'd be like, sand. I hate sand. It gets in my nose. See
Get
how I
out,
did
get
that?
out, get out, get out! You're done. You're done. This podcast is
Dead
over.
to me.
I'm done.
Oh, Dale
But-
Gribble would be able to defeat Darth Vader. Pocket sand.
But in all reality, my choice is Spider-Man. We could get so much out of a real life Spider-Man, especially if he hated Marvel.
God, Stanley. I can't believe that guy was a weirdo.
Partially
And then
because
DCU became the problem.
Partially because if we had a real life Spider-Man, that means nowadays he'd be like the head of Parker Industries and stuff. So we could have a Spider-Man came in here and just outdid all technology on Earth instantly.
Which
I could get a smartphone that projects holograms for free next week.
next week?
Oh yeah, that's how quick the Marvel Universe
Also-
Spider-Man works with Parker Industries.
Also, would you just get like a generic Spider? Would you get a generic Spider-Man, or would you bring one from a specific like?
By the sounds
I mean,
of it,
by the sounds of it, it's the Spider-Man from Marvel Comics because that is the flagship. It's the Peter Parker Spider-Man is the flagship of Marvel Comics. So be the Peter Parker Spider-Man.
I didn't know. If, I still don't know. If there's different.
Old man Peter Parker, essentially.
So of all the
Not
Spider-Man that
old,
exist, only one of them is the main Spider-Man, the Peter Parker from Earth 616.
Okay.
That is the Peter Parker Spider-Man that would be representing Marvel.
Alright, I just I thought I should ask that because
And I don't think him disliking or even hating Marvel would actually impact what he did or his responsibilities in any way. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I mean his he would just save people and then he probably like
Honestly, he'd probably do that for like a day and realize that there's way less crime in this world, or that crime is very much different. Like it usually takes place as like random shootings all across the U.S., not in like specific cities anymore. And he'd be like, okay, yeah, the best thing I can really do is probably just to invest in politics with all of the money I'm going to make with my company again.
President Spider-Man.
honestly,
That would be awesome.
I think
Honestly, I'd be into that.
Yeah.
I'd vote for
I'd definitely
I'd
vote.
vote for
I'd
Peter
definitely
Parker.
vote.
I would vote for him if anything, just
Peter
because he
Parker
would lift the car
2020.
over his head. It's like he wins, okay, don't.
Here's
throw
the
this.
question though.
Someone
Who would
needs
be
to
his
make
vice
this a
president?
shirt.
Peter Parker 2020.
Yeah.
Who would be his vice president?
Dude, Michelle Obama. No,
I'm
actually,
okay
no,
with
but for real,
Stephen Colbert?
For real, Stephen Colbert
Yeah.
was president of the Marvel Universe once, so he'd probably try to post Stephen. And
I'm okay
also,
with that.
Obama and Michelle Obama existed in the Marvel Universe, and Obama was president, so he would have a connection with Obama. And it was canon that the Obama is directly based on the Obama from real world, from our Earth. So he already knows as much as he knew about that Obama, about our Obama. He's already friends with our Obama, essentially.
That is cool.
So I'd totally be in that because he already has connections.
That'd be cool.
Peter Parker 2020.
Peter Parker 2020. We need shirts of this. We
Yes.
need shirts of this. We need to make them, sell them, make a website, sell them.
Be
put it out there.
luxurious.
It would be luxurious.
We need to make hats, and it'll say "Make America Spidey again."
Make America marvelous again.
Make America amazing again.
Make America spectacular again.
Make America
Now you're
web
forcing
of
it.
again.
I don't know. I'm running out of them
Make
now.
America Webby again.
Maybe it wasn't a title for Spider-Man.
I don't
That's
care.
also just getting
You were
weird.
down to like Peter
Yeah.
Parker, Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man,
I don't
Ultimate,
care.
Ultimate.
Make America ultimate again.
I don't care. You know I don't care. You
I
look
don't
at me.
care that you don't
Do I
care.
look like
We
I
care.
No.
Earth X Spider-Man,
I don't care.
Zombie Spider-Man.
Marvel Zombies Spider-Man.
Make
America
America
zombie.
zombified again.
Dude, how
Well,
many
I need to
people
ask you
actually
something
want to
too.
live in a zombie apocalypse? I'm serious.
Maybe
A lot of
that's
people
probably
do.
true.
True.
So yeah, that'd be a good one. All right, so I think we should get started then.
No, podcast is over.
That was it. Great podcast.
All right.
Seriously though.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I messed that up badly.
Great job.
Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast after work. I am your host today, Stuart, and joining me we got Alex.
I didn't work today.
Cool.
Fan house house.
We got Fan Hot Sauce. We got Derek. And then we got Isaiah.
Have you ever put your butt in butter?
I'm sure someone
Yeah.
out there has.
You've put your butt in butter.
Whenever I get stressed,
Why?
I
No,
like
no. You didn't stop. Why?
So, as you know, when I'm in the privacy of my own home,
Oh no!
I go around naked a lot. I also like to
I don't
cook.
care. I don't care.
I left butter. I thought on the table, ended
I-
up being on the bench. I sat on the butter all over my butt. My butt was in butter.
I highly recommend for everybody. If you get really stressed out, butter your pants. I love me some butter pants.
When in doubt,
Buttery.
butter pants.
There we go. So yeah, today we are talking about EA, I believe, and then if there is time, we will be talking about the current news about Disney possibly buying Fox and what we think that might mean for the future
Or
of the Marvel
Sony.
universe.
I'm sorry, I can't help but like sit there and go like a guy's like wondering, it's like, should I propose my like girlfriend? I'm gonna butter my pants real quick. I'll be right back.
don't know. I'm nervous. I'm like, no.
Just like gets the thing of butter, just like.
Hey, you know
No,
what?
Why are you
know
buttering
what?
your pants? There's an important decision,
Hey,
Martha.
it will make it a lot more comfortable when he has to go down and kneel. He'll be like, "Oh, buttery smooth."
No, this is what's gonna
All the way
happen.
down. He'll want to.
No,
take
this is
that,
what's gonna
to
happen.
take that.
They're at a nice vineyard, right? And they're like his buddies, his buddies coming in. He's sitting there. It's like a TV show. You just see the top part, and he's just walking back like that. You see his hand motion, like, man, I don't know if I could do it. Of course you could do it, man. I really don't know. Of course you can. What are you doing? I'm buttering my pants. Well, it's okay. And then when he kneels
It
down,
calms me down.
and when he kneels down, it's like, babe, can you?
Just slits.
like, God.
My face.
Wait, what were you
Did
gonna
you
do?
butter-
I don't know. I'm
Did
bleeding.
you butter
I don't
your
remember.
pants? I was stressed out.
stressed.
Why does everyone think this is weird?
Are you gonna say something? I don't know. I can't remember the last 10 minutes, and I forgot how to do
Those
math.
5 dudes on the internet said this was normal.
If you're one of those people that believe that, please. Oh my god. Don't.
We have one viewer and they buttered their pants.
I'm disappointed in one of us that would watch this being that one viewer.
All right. Speaking of buttering pants, though, Alex, do you want to start us off by talking about the current EA situation?
How does that relate to
I'm
buttering
confused. I'm confused on the relation of buttering pants.
Pants? Yeah, I would
Oh,
say.
well,
You see, buttering up kind of like that thing like where you kind of like grease up someone like you're trying to get on the good side. But this time we're buttering pants. And someone wears the pants in the household. So what we're doing right here is we're trying to like grease up like the head of everything right now. And what that means is that we are giving information to the people watching because they are the head of our household.
I was just going to say butter costs money, and you know who likes money? EA.
Yeah, and with the buttering of the pants, it's easier to get the wallet out.
Yeah.
He's got a point there.
Exactly.
That is true.
You're like a slip and slide already. The wallet's just.
So the
Probably
question
conditions
is,
the
in
leather
what
pretty okay,
ways
too.
does EA not relate to butter? See, can you really
You
think
know,
of any?
have a
Butter's
good
good.
I
Butter's good.
enjoy
Yes,
cooking
not.
with butter.
Here's the difference. I enjoy using butter on a daily basis.
I'll spread butter on my toast. I'll not spread EA
I
on my
will
toast.
use butter in almost any product in my kitchen. I will use butter while playing on my PlayStation. I will not use an EA product while playing on my
People
PlayStation.
can order butter at my work. You can't order EA at our work.
That's debatable.
What?
Alright, but getting back down to brass tacks, EA and their all of their stuff this week.
Oh god.
Microtransactions for the past 2 weeks. All the stuff going down with Star Wars Battlefront. Huge disaster. Them temporarily taking down because Disney had to get on their butt about not using the Star Wars property better. One of my favorite internet, I don't know, transmedia professionals, I don't know, entertainers. Jim Sterling brought up a really good point. EA, and in particular DICE, has done almost literally nothing in the 8+ years they've had the Star Wars license. They've made 2 games that were both failures.
I'd say the first
The
one
first
was
one-
mediocre.
Yeah,
It was
mediocre.
according to EA's standards, a failure. They said that later on.
Did they? Okay.
Because it didn't retain viewership. It lost players with DLC. It was ultimately a failure. It's why they kept saying that they would do better and that they were listening.
And people thought they were going to do better. But
I know, right?
Yeah.
I guess-
Essentially,
I don't know. I don't think people did think they were going to do better. I
a lot of
really,
people I talked to
people
thought
did.
they were gonna
I
do better.
only remember a vocal part of the internet doing it. I do not remember a huge majority of people on the internet thinking they were going to do much better. I remember a very vocal minority of people that were usually involved in stuff like very hardcore gaming or paying attention to the stuff coming out of the E3 conferences and stuff and listening to what EA was saying. I don't remember any average group of people or a massive Reddit group or a like R Gaming or anything. I don't remember anything like that ever positively covering their hopes for Battlefront 2. I only remember the hardcore gamer sphere ever covering positive things upcoming for Battlefront 2, with the only exception of everyone finally thinking they're going to be satisfied by a single player experience.
Here's what here's how my analogy of Battlefront 2 compared to Battlefront 1. I'm going to completely quote zero punctuation here, and I'm also going to have to censor this in post-production because it's not the most appropriate. But he talks about this with Prince of Persia, and he basically says that it's like with Battlefront 2, they seemingly made a far superior game by adding a lot more content from the beginning, right? But then, suddenly, they kind of ruined it all with one thing, and that was making it completely play to win. So it's like, you had this amazing cake right here, right? But then, looks amazing, but then someone just sticks their dick in it, and it may taste fine, right? You probably wouldn't even notice if you didn't look, but you're still not going to eat it because someone just stuck their dick in it.
I don't know. In reference to Battlefront 2, it's like they just pile drived it continuously.
I don't know if that's adequate for this, but I like that in general.
So I like the analogy, but I don't think it works because this isn't. They stuck their dick in it. They didn't. This was. So this isn't just them putting their dick in it. This is them putting their dick in it, swirling it around, throwing it at some random bystander, and then calling in a tactical nuke on it. This is them completely ruining, completely destroying their chances at selling to a new audience. This is them completely destroying their chances to sell to their old audience, and this is honestly probably what's going to bring the conversation of our loot boxes gambling into the forefront of legal conversations in both other countries and our own.
It has in Belgium,
and that's before you even consider the conversation about whether to what scale this is pay to win, and the fact that it's completely pay to win, and that it ruins the progression system. In fact, the game's progression system is entirely based on it. So what with them taking out the ability to pay for these loot boxes and instead require these dozens of hours to get this similar amount of loot boxes, they've completely destroyed the player base's ability to progress in a natural fashion in their game, thus ruining their own balancing across the board and making everything less enjoyable overall. This isn't a dick in a pudding. This is
a turd in the pudding.
This is the pudding. Is ashes. It's gone. The pudding is gone.
There is no more pudding.
Honestly, I'd kind of rather have the ashes. I know it's sterile.
There you go.
This is over 60% of their player base from their last game not having bought this game. This is 60% fewer sales. It's just it's redundant. It's not comparable to a small mistake or even a mistake that only kind of mentally puts you off. Even this is a mistake that literally breaks the franchise.
So my question, really fast, and this is an actual question. I actually don't know, but usually with gambling, isn't like the definition have to do with winning money though? Like spending money to win money?
In Japan it does?
Okay. No, the legal definition all across the world is that it has to do specifically with money, which is why loot boxes have up to this point not been considered gambling by any country because there are enough degrees of separation from actual money to consider it not. But the problem is that these are so clearly predatory practices that multiple countries are now considering redefining this definition of gambling, or at least redefining the context of which loot boxes are appropriate as if they were gambling, or as if they were as predatory to children as gambling is to adults, because of the effect it's had on people, and because of what it clearly aims to do. It uses all the same manipulations as actual gambling does on adults. Only this is available not just for adults, but for children. And it gets around every loophole in law that would mandate a higher mature rating or 18 only availability. It gets around every loophole possible for the widest audience possible to psychologically damage them. So this is why multiple countries are recently bringing up this in court or recommending their countries to bring up in court to redefine whether or not it should be banned because it's harmful, not just because it's technically not gambling. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that. So yeah, no, that actually makes a lot more sense.
It's kind of sucks
Okay.
because it's not just like Battlefront 2 that's a problem with it. It's just a lot of games recently that come out that have a lot of loot box systems that are just not as bad as what EA and DICE are doing, but they're still pretty bad.
Well, I want to say like problems like this started years ago, like not nowhere near to this degree, right? So please note when I say started, I'm just saying this is what I think brought gaming to this direction.
Microtransactions.
Is that, yeah, microtransactions. And the fact that when, DLC first became as popular as it was, it used to be that you'd get a full game and then you'd get like add-ons to this game while you waited for your next game. Mass Effect 2 and 3 were like
look at the term
examples.
DLC. That didn't used to be used. Even as late as like mid-gen PS3 era, the term add-on was used.
Back in my day, we had expansion packs.
Yeah, exactly. The OG system, popularized by things like Morrowind, was expansion packs.
And The Sims had hot date.
Right?
I winked there. You can't see it.
But over time, these changed into downloadable content because they were all types of downloadable content. Eventually, the term DLC became more predominantly used because new types of it came, specifically microtransactions, which the real forefather of was EA.
Yeah.
The first time I remember microtransactions, it wasn't the first time they were a thing. It was the first time they were considered predatory in a big way that I remember was with one of my favorite franchises, Dead Space.
I actually remember in Mass Effect 3 beforehand. But then again, I played Mass Effect 3
Those were not
before
considered
Dead
predatory.
Space.
Those were expansions, and then the costume packs were you knew what you were getting, and you were only charged like $2. They were microtransactions, but I don't ever remember them being talked about in a predatory concerned way. They
I
were
just
things that
remember
weren't part of the base.
In the third one, they did have the loot box
That's
system.
true, but that was in a post Dead Space 3 world where we had to pay for building materials to make add-ons for weapons. That was a core part of the crafting system. That was a core component of the game. That was different. That day one DLC also wasn't a microtransaction. It was an expansion, just a small one. It was an entire story mission, an entire world with an entire character with hundreds or even thousands of lines of dialogue. That is in all technicality an expansion. That's not a microtransaction, really.
I'm also wondering...
It's a day one, which makes it disgusting, and the fact that it's already on disc makes it doubly so.
That's not the one I'm referring to. I'm referring to with loot boxes in Mass Effect 3, the online.
Yeah, but again, I remember people actually being happy with those. I don't remember people considering them very predatory. I remember people being worried about the potential of them, but acknowledging that they didn't seem that bad.
So, in the context of loot boxes, not microtransactions, but where it really started, I know there's like... The community blames like two specific people.
Yeah,
and
one specific people.
Well, I know there's not many people blame them, and I don't know why.
It's a joint company.
I know who you're referencing.
Activision Blizzard.
Would you let me talk for just a minute?
I was thinking of a different one.
Darn. But like, I know one of them is like, even I was like, I didn't even play the game, and I know that their loot system wasn't that bad. The other one, yes, you brought it up. I agree with you. People have been blaming TF2, and some people have been blaming Overwatch.
Oh, I wasn't talking about Overwatch.
Who are you?
Wait, you were?
I was talking about Diablo 3!
Did that game have...
It did.
Yeah, it did. The joke was that the game came out actually broken and not functioning because
I
they
remember
tried to
that.
implement
Yes.
It's a huge amount of backlash, and I don't know...
But
I've heard it's
Blizzard has been
different.
doing stuff like this as long as they thought they could get away with it. The only reason it wasn't in WoW originally is because it wasn't conceptualized.
Wait, is it in WoW now?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be
I wouldn't be
surprised
surprised
either,
now.
I don't think it is, but I would argue that their expansions have gone smaller in scope and quicker to release, more rapid to release. I would argue that the only reason they haven't gone micro with their expansions is only because they would not be able to get away with it because their fan base, their player base, is almost entirely people who've been playing it for like 10 years now.
And they're
So
real.
it wouldn't.
No, they're real. No,
of
yeah, they're
their
real
own.
fans. They're
Yeah.
hardcore fans.
But as long as they could get away with it, every new game they make, they ruin with this stuff. But yeah, TF2, is extremely predatory. I would consider them. The problem is I wouldn't consider them a popularizer of it or even the origin of it because they were one of the earliest adopters of the kind of crate system, and with their keys and stuff being microtransactions and you not even being able to open a crate without buying a key. I think that was all disgusting and I hated that. I hate it to this day. But I also wouldn't argue that it made a big financial impact on the gaming market. I don't think big companies looked at TF2 and went, "Oh, they're making lots of money off that. We can do that."
Also,
I think
on top of
maybe that got things, maybe
The
like
ball rolling?
I think maybe that got like people that were already thinking about predatory spending practices talking about specific ways to do it. I don't really think it was a key part of the conversation, though, because we didn't end up seeing anything incorporated like that, with the exception of things like Killing Floor.
Heck.
But I think really that the idea of that maybe partially fathered or grandfathered into loot boxes as a whole, but I don't see it being a significant impact.
I would say Team Fortress 2, if anything, was just kind of like the ball, or like put down a flag saying start here, for the most part. But yeah. Also, when it comes to that, it was like 99 cents for like a key, which nowadays
$1.99 for a key.
what?
$1.99 for a key pretty quickly.
Yeah, it
was
became
only
that
99
really quick.
cents, not even for a full year.
Yeah, but it didn't. It definitely isn't as predatory as like how Battlefront 2
I
has
disagree.
it.
I actually think it's more, maybe not quite as so as
No,
as
not
Battlefront 2.
not as
I was
bad
fine
as
with it
Battlefront
until
2.
they brought in
But
that you could sell and buy stuff with
I-
real money.
That's when it became very questionable. But even that, it
No,
just
that's when I
kinda
started
came-
hating it over. Yeah.
I hated it before then. I thought it was more predatory than the idea of what became loot box. I think loot boxes are less predatory than their loot system because not only does their loot system have loot boxes, it's randomized loot that you get out of the crates, but they make you pay for the key no matter what. There's no way to open a loot crate without giving additional money to them. There's no way to do it. And I was absolutely not okay with that in any way except for the fact that they became free to play.
Yeah.
And then I got why they could do that monetarily. I still didn't like it, but I got why they could do it.
Which, if I remember
since
correctly,
you
it
could
became-
unlock weapons without opening crates
Yeah.
necessarily.
And if I remember correctly, it became free to play after like 2.5 years. It was relatively.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It had a decent amount of time not being free to play, but that also was a long time without loot crates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do find in general their system even more disturbing than say the like a Call of Duty loot crate you can possibly get again, which kind of leads us into the topic of loot crates as they exist today, and the game that followed them in, as it was mentioned, Overwatch.
Or
Given
at least
how
to the
much
degree that they are
I was
now.
very confused whether you meant Overwatch, Diablo 3, or TF2
No.
at that
Yeah, I was like, what are you gonna say
Which
that?
one?
Like I said,
Yeah, we're
Mind blank.
it's Overwatch. We're accepting Overwatch as it.
TF2, I don't think had a significant impact on major companies choosing to go loot box with non-free to play games or anything. I think that was more their internal system, and even them not even. I don't even think people were paying attention to it much because it's not really the big money earner of, say, an EA, Activision, or Blizzard.
I can't speak for a lot of people. I know I personally never felt the need to open a loot box or a loot crate or what's the crates, whatever, TF2.
I did it the way that I kind of do with games that I'm into doing the loot crates for. It's like, I'm going to do $10 worth this paycheck.
I will say I never felt the need until it became like a thing you could buy and sell. And And then I started feeling like I could make money off
Yeah,
this.
when it became a thing where like you could trade for actual money, that made me go, well, I do have a lot of crates. I could just buy a lot of keys and then try to. And I really don't like.
To be fair, depending on what crate you have, it could be worth hundreds of dollars.
In my mentality at the time, but overall very fortunate for me,
hundreds of dollars.
I constantly deleted crates, so I didn't actually have need to do that. Because I was just like, it's a crate. I don't want to spend $1 to get a weapon that's going to drop in game anyway.
Yeah, there was also that, which I don't know when that came
so a
into
lot
play.
of them wouldn't. Like a lot of those weapons had almost no chance of dropping in game.
No, all the
especially
weapons did.
seasonal
Probably was the
ones.
hats. The hats
Yeah,
were the ones.
the hats and then the strange weapons.
The strange
The strange
weapons,
weapons
yeah.
came later. They came relatively quickly, but they came later.
Hats. Oh my god! Don't even get me started on hats.
I like hats. His hat's very
that's a
nice.
separate topic for another day.
TF2,
Anyway.
the hat wearing simulator.
But I do
Not
legitimately
wrong.
think, even though Overwatch is not the first to do loot crates and is not the first to do them how they do them, I think they are the number one reason loot crates became
Popularized?
such an explosive thing
Yeah.
in the past 2 years.
Honestly, yeah.
They are the number one. Overwatch raking in all that money on loot crates has pushed everyone to do so, especially since almost all of the major companies had other games that also gave them their stats. They had their Call of Duties where they made over 50% of all of their money was made through the loot boxes. They had these numbers from other games supporting this. They had supporting data for this. They just didn't have enough to really go all in until Overwatch came around and was so explosive and that everyone went all in on it. Leading very quickly to Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Well, that and also just a lot of other games. Just
A lot of
seeing
other
the
games are doing it better, though.
Which is actually kind of interesting because another thing that Jim Sterling said, which I'm realizing this I'm assuming that a lot of me and you and other people got the same information from Jim Sterling. Maybe you from other
from a whole lot of
sources,
places, but Jim words it the best.
Yeah, that it was so nice to see 2017 come out with these with Horizon Zero Dawn, Titanfall 2, Nier Automata, and these beautiful games which is so amazing, and it's just so beautiful. It's like, oh man, gaming is so beautiful now, and then we get to the prime of gaming, which is November, and you just see all this, and it's just like,
hey buddy,
everything has just gone
Yeah.
bad in the span of not even a year. You didn't even give this a year. Everything was so great back then, and now it's just bad.
Honestly, I'd go back to far as with Black Ops 2, where they had DLC weapons only accessible through the loot crates as an issue.
The Black Ops 2?
No,
no, Black Ops 3
was
Black Ops 3.
microtransactions.
Sorry.
Black Ops 2 was still in the microtransaction days
sorry.
where you could know what you were
no,
buying.
I
you
misspoke.
meant-
Black Ops 3.
Yeah,
Black Ops 3 where they
I
pulled
never
that.
remember Black Ops 2 actually having that.
Black Ops 3 having that about 2 years ago, I found that to be a very
Black Ops 3
serious
wasn't the
issue.
first one. Advanced Warfare.
That's true.
I didn't play Advanced Warfare.
Advanced
so.
Warfare.
I did. That was a
Did
big.
Advanced Warfare come after 3?
No, it was
No,
before
Advanced
3.
Warfare
It was
came
before 3.
Oh, okay.
It was
sorry.
Black. It was Black Ops 2. Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare was the last one Sledgehammer Games did, and Sledgehammer was the company that just did World War II.
Okay.
I was seeing with
So it's been 3 years since they did theirs.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least.
But I've been seeing since Black Ops 3, now that I got the actual one that I'm targeting. From that moment on, I've been hearing more and more about loot crates, and I've always just been I've been feeling like I'm being pushed towards in 5 years from now, I'm not gonna pick up a PlayStation 5.
To be fair,
it's not gonna be worth it.
Call of Duty is maybe the only franchise I've seen that got better with time. And I don't think they got better between Advanced and Black Ops 3. I actually think they got worse because in Advanced Warfare, you could get weapon variants that were clearly better than the other weapons. They had the biggest example in maybe all Call of Duty history of this is that there was this weapon called the Obsidian Steed, right? In Advanced Warfare. And it was already maybe the best assault rifle statistically. It was a 4-shot kill near any range. It was hella steady. It was so good. It was nice. And it had an exotic variant. What was it called? Was the Obsidian the exotic variant? I don't even remember now.
Now I'm questioning for World War II variants for the M1 since it's already a one-hit kill practically.
No. No. This is why I'm saying they got better. My point is that they had a definitively better version, a superior version of the already best gun in the game. And it wasn't even like no pro would not just use that.
Yeah,
you had
it was
to,
just like,
you had to be
oh,
proficient
baby.
using it. It was a big thing. And then Black Ops 3, they got worse. Black Ops 3, they had weapons themselves tied behind loot crates that I still, to this day, despite playing that game heavily, don't have... I'm still short maybe 6 guns and 4 melee weapons.
I have the season pass and all the DLCs for Black
yeah.
Ops 3. Even in local play, I don't have access to
I've probably
those
spent
guns.
more than $200 in microtransactions for those loot boxes, honestly, over the entire lifespan of Black Ops 3. And I still am missing weapons, and that disturbs me.
I probably only have like 1 of those.
Yeah.
And I sat there just like, why is this even a thing in a Call of Duty game? Like,
I didn't
come
spend
on.
a whole lot of money, although that is the first Call of Duty game I ever prestiged in. I don't think I have any of those special weapons. Maybe one.
Yeah.
Now, my big thing is that they got better. World War II came out this year, and even though they have all these bombs with loot and gears and even skins and variances of weapons or new weapons that are better statistically, this year they came out with a Call of Duty with loot boxes that don't lock weapons behind them.
Yeah.
That don't, as far as we know, I mean, we haven't had DLC weapons come out yet, so maybe that'll happen in the future. But so far, they don't hide statistical bonuses behind weapons. They have visual-only weapon variants, suit variants. They've brought it down to cosmetic only for the first time in a while, if you don't count the remaster of Advanced Warfare.
Wait, a remaster of Advanced Warfare?
Oh, sorry, of Modern Warfare.
Modern.
Who made this one? Who made
Sledgehammer, the same people that made Advanced Warfare.
I have, from what I remember,
I like Sledgehammer. They're
Yeah,
cool.
Sledgehammer has been one of the better ones making Call of Duty games, so I actually have confidence that they won't.
I mean,
Do
I don't
that.
really think there's a weak Call of Duty team. I'd maybe argue the team responsible for was it Raven that did Ghost? Call of
Yes,
Duty
but
Ghost?
Raven also assisted with this. But
Yeah.
Ghost was Raven
Well, I
and
mean,
Infinity War, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think they're using Raven to assist with multiplayer across all of them.
Yeah.
I think Raven is now just their multiplayer guy.
Which I can
because,
definitely see the complaints
yeah.
about the spawning.
but
I've had some of those instances.
yeah, but other than Raven with Ghosts, I really don't feel like they have a weak Call of Duty team, especially for single player. Really,
Well, not that. Just the company that can make consistently just good looking.
yeah, I know,
and
but I don't
feeling-
really feel like Sledgehammer really does much better or much worse than the other. I don't really think any of them do much better or worse than any of them. I could tie specific examples of Raven's past being better than Sledgehammer's past, probably. In fact, right now, my favorite team as it stands is probably the Treyarch team. They're responsible for Infinite Warfare as single player, right? Was it Raven? Maybe it was Raven.
Treyarch is the Black Ops. That's theirs.
So it was Raven then. So Raven did
I think they
Infinite
did
Warfare?
I think.
Infinite Warfare's campaign was fantastic. I loved it. I loved it more than any other Call of Duty campaign. Probably it was like Call of Duty Mass Effect kind of. It was interesting. It was introduced little bonuses, things that I loved way more than I thought I would. Even the levels that like you could probably call it gimmick levels, things that like had a specific way, like you were supposed to stealth here, or the sun would burn you and you had to stay in the shadows here, or something. Were all done really well and in a way that felt really good and looked good. I really liked it, even though I hated the multiplayer.
Everyone hated the multiplayer.
I even
but-
picked
but
that
I-
game up for a minute. I don't want to try the multiplayer.
I don't really think they have like a weak company. I think they have weak teams or weak
ideas
that maybe the company puts on teams, or maybe that they get shuffled around too much for something. I feel like that the Call of Duty people kind of suffer Mass Effect Andromeda syndrome, and when they do bad, it's usually not because even they have a crappy team, but rather that they just weren't communicating properly, or there's bad stuff coming down from above. Yeah, I just don't really think they actually have a weak team.
And with that, I
Look
think
how
we
they
should
sell
talk
everything.
about, speaking of Activision, Bungie, because I know Bungie was under a lot of heat because of their microtransactions, which I can see Jim Sterling's argument as to, okay, you get these like every level, but it's right there in my face, and I want to buy something. But at the same time, I really feel that it is absolutely zero benefits whatsoever to theirs.
Yeah, like
And I still think that theirs, yeah, they do loot crates, but I think they do it the best because it's...
what?
Or not the best, I shouldn't say
They do
the
loot
best.
crates. What loot crates?
Or not the loot crates, the random engrams things.
Right,
Oh,
right.
Where it's just
yeah,
completely
the bright engrams,
randomized.
but that's,
Oh, the bright.
I'd say
the bright-
that's tonally and logically and mechanically consistent with their world.
But I know like a lot of people were still pissed off about it that way, which it may come down to just the shaders, but I feel that
Okay, but that's
they still
just-
did it just fine.
Yeah, like I remember.
But
Because
that's not even.
I don't
mean, like-
benefit at all dropping $10 whatsoever. There's zero benefit. There's no benefit having an exotic ship or a sparrow. They're no different than any other. Then perhaps they might go like
Well, exotic
slightly
sparrow.
faster.
If they were to introduce sparrow racing and didn't up the average speeds, although in the past they've upped the average speeds every new racing event knows.
Yeah.
Then technically there would be a speed advantage.
Yeah.
I just feel that
Maybe.
there's
I don't
like
know.
an
if
it doesn't honestly. I've done
excluding.
I don't really feel it makes a difference, but
I've
it
done
could
enough.
technically make a difference.
I've done enough to where if you're using a 150 legendary ship and a 160 legendary ship or an exotic,
Sparrow.
It does not. It does not.
It doesn't
feel-
seem to, but
it-
I'd like to
I've-
do a side-by-side comparison.
I've noticed a difference with wait, what's the highest one?
160. So
160.
there
I've
are,
noticed the difference between 140 and 160.
no, I've
140,
definitely, I have
160, yes.
definitely
Definitely
noticed
seen
differences
that.
between people getting their first sparrow and clearly having the default first sparrow that they chose, right? Their little green one, and me with my yellow one. I do see a speed difference.
Yes, I will say that there's a big
I'm
enough.
not
range.
sure about between legendary and
But-
exotic how big it is, but I think there probably is a difference.
It's all. It's.
But that's
it's
big
not a-
enough for competitive racing.
Oh, definitely. Like
If
they
you're gonna
are-
make the SLS is gonna come back, the Sparrow Racing League is gonna
True.
come back.
You really need an exotic
that
Sparrow
little,
if they
even
don't.
a
That is
5%
true.
difference. Like look at people who do like heavy twin shooting and FPSs. They consider like a 10 like a frame rounding number. When considering like faster reload time or something, like if like one weapon technically has the same reload speed as another weapon statistically, but because of frame rounding has like 2 extra frames of reload, they will ignore that gun or something. Like they make these huge changes to what guns they will use based on small frame rounding things and statistical bonuses like that. Like when you go pro level on these things, every little difference makes a huge difference. And Bungie has really always sold themselves on that pro level stuff,
Yeah.
even though they weren't able to get it like they wanted to.
Yeah, I guess if they are trying to make it,
They've
are
always tried.
they are trying to make that
Look at
Destiny
their
into the more.
4v4 competitive.
Yeah, they are trying to make it a more competitive thing, so I can understand if they would.
I mean, they've always wanted to be competitive. Look at how they ended with Halo. They've always stated from the very beginning that they wanted their multiplayer to be a competitive multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
From the very beginning.
For like the microtransactions for Destiny 2, I feel like they got a lot of unnecessary flack. I can
do
see
too.
the upset for the shaders, but that's it.
I know
Beyond that,
I
I
was-
see zero.
I know I was a
Isn't
big.
there no way to get sparrows or ships beyond the bright engrams?
Well, you just get the special ones, and then you
No,
can
but
go-
are there any others
you-
though besides the starter?
You can.
yeah, I've gotten random legendary
So
drops
you
from engrams.
can buy them
with in-game
Glimmer.
currency,
With-
and
with-
they're
with-
not
with
like
Glimmer.
50,000.
Right.
It's like 25, so it's
just
not.
like in the first game where you could buy them. But yeah, the best way to get them is through those bright engrams, but you also get those from regular play.
I don't remember getting.
And also, I would imagine
I'm not
if,
saying you don't. Just I don't remember.
I would imagine
Right,
if
engrams?
SRL.
No, the ships and sparrows.
Oh, that's because you probably haven't sought them out. Go over to
Amanda Holiday.
Amanda Holiday and buy a sparrow.
And I would imagine for SRL, they'd probably just be like, so a bunch of legendaries are for sale. Let's make
SRL, they better.
For
Or
SRL,
at least
I would
balance the speed.
I would expect them to put, just like they did in the past, sparrows into the loot table for.
Oh
SLL
yeah, just like that. Where
so if you play
these
a
are the racing
single round or
ones.
two, you have a good chance. Or even like how they always have the book and completing the tutorial equivalency in the book, completing your first race
gives you
earns a
like
sparrow.
the high end.
Like because you only need one sparrow with a competitive speed. They can even make them all 160, even though they're legendary, and just make exotics
just look fancier.
only. Like that is so easy to do. They have no excuse not to.
But
I give Bungie, until we see otherwise for SRL, for example, I give them complete full like I trust you.
Yeah,
You're not.
I remember being one of those people that was just like, this is the dumbest thing. Why would you put shaders in that? And like over time, I'm just like, well, now I have too many shaders. I thought this was going to be a problem. Now my problem is I have too many.
I mean, part of it is also,
I have too many.
I really don't feel after I stopped playing because I unlocked everything. I unlocked every single weapon possible other than 2 of the Iron Banner weapons I haven't unlocked. And I'm probably not going to. And even when the DLC comes out, I'm probably not going to stick around long enough for an Iron Banner. Like maybe 2 a Vanguard weapon, 1 Vanguard weapon. And then most of the raid weapons, honestly, because I didn't really feel like redoing the raid that many times because it takes a lot to get stuff from the raid. I played pretty hardcore for the first 2 weeks, and then
Burned out.
guess a bit more than straight casual, but mostly casually after those first 2 weeks. And there's almost nothing to grind for. And you know what I had the least problem grinding for? Shaders. I naturally, just going in and playing, doing random stuff, get enough bright engrams regularly enough. Like, I don't think there's been a single time I went and played and didn't get a bright engram. And I unlock all these ships I don't use, don't want to use, don't care about. I break them down. It gives you the gold dust. And then you can buy the shaders of the week there if you want, or you can buy the other stuff. Like it. You aren't lacking in ways to get any of this through just in-game stuff without ever buying anything. I spent $20 I spent $40 total. 2 transactions of $20 in the first week alone of Destiny 2 because I was afraid that they had so much loot, so much I wasn't going to be able to get those. And nothing. I got a couple exotics, a couple gestures, and was satisfied with that and didn't care since because I realized there's not much in the loot table and there's nothing of any worth or value in there. There's no reason for me to put money into it. It was just me being really excited to have everything in the beginning.
Yeah. So
good job, Bungie.
So
I mean, good job making me like Destiny 1, Bungie. I don't like Destiny 2. 5 out of 10.
So with that being said,
6 out of 10.
With that being said, with just all these games implementing these kind of things, do you see a bright future for gaming in the coming years, or do you see it kind of taking a bad turn?
Yeah, I see legalization coming and smacking the crud out of these companies.
I mean,
games more focusing on trying to make money off the microtransactions and the DLC.
Like I said, I see a bright future because when laws are put in place that prohibit the predatory spending practices or these loot boxes being in the hands of children, I absolutely see these going away pretty quickly. I see maybe 5 years out, these are completely gone possibly, and that would be awesome.
Just the fact that the law is being brought into it should be enough to hopefully scare it off.
I mean, it's not.
It's not.
It's enough to make them go, maybe we should start making plans in case this fails, but not enough right now.
If this was brought to American courts, American courts started talking about it, I would expect the ESRB in particular to make a response and say label loot boxes as mature content. That way it would be in Emery games. No, that's it. It would make companies way less likely to include loot boxes.
It would fix Forza
Forza?
Yeah.
I mean, not just Forza.
Or Gran Turismo.
Dude, it
the
wouldn't just fix these.
Yeah.
Look at Battlefront. The reason Battlefront is a big deal is because it's a TVA game. Let's be real.
Yeah.
They specifically made it to market to kids. Same thing with Overwatch. TVA game. These are all T-rated games that
I
have
keep
these
forgetting
relaunches.
that there is the
They're-
rating of T.
I know.
I assume it's rated M or rated E.
No.
So
I know because that's in practice kind of honest, but legally it's not. It's not in any way the same. The ESRB would step in if American courts started talking about it, and then that would stop American courts from talking about it. That's kind of how the ESRB seems to work. Is that whenever the big boys are threatened that their monetization might be taken away, that their way of making money might be taken away, ESRB steps in and is like, oh no, we can totally self-police this. Watch. Look, now kids don't have access to it. See? And then there's no reason for courts to talk about it anymore. Because technically kids do have access to it still, right? Nothing's in practice really changed. But on a legal front, everything has completely changed. But ESRB isn't going to be brought into until American courts start talking about it seriously, and I don't see that happening for like 2 to 3 years. Like, even after like these other companies talk about it.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there is a potential of it. With how it is right now, I see it getting better, but I definitely see if, say, this is just a fluke coincidence with Battlefront 2, and they find cheaper and dirtier ways to just hide it, I think
I mean,
there's the potential of it getting worse.
if they find cheaper and dirtier ways of hiding it, though, I might have less of a problem with it because it might have less of an effect.
True.
If it's harder for me to tell the difference, I'll be harder to disagree with it. The real problem is that I never wanted it to come to pay to win. I never wanted that.
Which it just did.
And that's what it just did, but it just failed hard.
Yeah.
It became the talking and laughing stock of the entire world. Like, world governments are talking about legalization because of this. Like, it became huge. Disney stepped in because of this. The biggest company in the world stepped in to deal with this. Like, this was a huge win for consumers, honestly. This coming out this aggressive right now, before people were already indoctrinated into it completely, it is probably what won us years off of this happening again. I sincerely doubt we'll see such a predatory practice anywhere near now. I think it'll be like at least 2 years out before we see something to this scale. Like, maybe a couple games that are already in final wrap-ups that are already based on this might come out in the next like 6 months. But I don't really think this will be a significant part of the gaming culture again for a good year or two.
All right.
And actually, come to think of it, with that, there was also Shadow of War. A lot of people were just jumping on
Oh,
that.
that one, yeah, that one. Was a
That
good
actually
one.
really got. That was
win.
like, pay to win. It was being battered really hard, and then Battlefront 2, and everybody's
Just
like,
overshadowed.
wait a minute. 40 hours? Oh, no.
It was so big it overshadowed.
Overshadowed.
It's like Shadow of War, that's an RPG game. I don't mind dumping hundreds of hours into that.
So, yeah,
I'm not going to dump 100 hours into a PvP game. What?
Yeah, it's like, so.
I'm doing that for casual. What?
Wait, 40 hours, sound like Darth Vader, but he's undercover.
Yeah. Shadow of War, it's still playable, but you got to put in the hours, and
You
people
can't
probably
play
would
Luke
put
or
it.
Vader for 40 hours, and then you have to choose which one.
And they messed up there, and they poked the bear.
Well, congratulations.
But hey, at least you can play for the DLC characters for free.
Jesus. All right. So I think that all wraps it up then.
Are we not talking about Marvel?
We'll do that next at some other point.
Yeah, there's still news breaking out on
Of
that.
course.
Yeah.
There's
Honestly,
probably
we don't
something while
have
we're
many
talking.
details on that. We have loose things,
Yeah.
unconfirmed things.
Yep.
Disney wants to buy the Fox movie properties. Sony wants to buy Fox's Marvel movie properties. No confirmations on what stages of any of these talks are in.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But until next time, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you hit it.
Smash
3
that like
times.
button.
You hit it the first
Smack
time to
that
like
like
it.
button.
You hit it the second time to dislike it. Then you hit it a third time to triple like our video.
If this becomes a regular thing, I'm just going to slap you in the middle of you saying it.
No, you see, you like it the second time because you're like, man, this is really good. And like, oh man,
That
unliked
unliked
it. Hold on, I
They-
gotta go back. Be
And in
sure-
order to make up for that mistake, you subscribe to us and you hit the bell button to get
Yeah,
notifications.
you're like, I'm sorry. Let me subscribe.
Make sure you also check out our other podcasts that have not been uploaded yet on our SoundCloud page.
Yes, please check out
the ones that don't exist yet.
And then be sure to check out our Twitter and Instagram and Facebook page. We have all of those, guys.
Links will be in the description.
They will indeed. And
Your mom's in the description.
Oh.
Just for that, my mom will be in the description.
Hey! There we go. You all have an awesome night.
Bye.